sending shockwaves through neighbourhoods and prompting thousands of civilians to flee. Roads out of the capital have been clogged with traffic as families attempt to escape what many fear could become a prolonged war. The operation, led by Washington and Israel, represents one of the most significant direct military confrontations with Iran in decades. According to Israeli officials, around 500 targets have been struck since the beginning of the campaign. The attacks were carried out using both sea and air-based platforms, US naval assets and aircraft operating from regional bases launched precision strikes overnight, hitting what officials describe as command centres, weapons depots and key military installations. Among those reportedly targeted was Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, underscoring the scale and boldness of the operation. President Donald Trump announced that he had authorized what he called a major combat mission named Operation Epic Fury. He said the objective was clear: to ensure that Americans would never face a threat of a nuclear-armed Iran. Now, in a direct appeal to the Iranian people, he urged them to take control of their government, also framing the operation not only as a military campaign, but as part of a broader confrontation with the Iranian regime. The strikes did not come without warning. They were preceded by a month-long US military build-up across the region, following President Trump's pledge earlier this year to support protesters who challenged the Iranian regime in January. Now, over recent weeks, American combat power in the Middle East has grown significantly. 2 aircraft carriers, the USS Abraham Lincoln and the USS Gerald R. Ford, are now within striking distance of Iran, each carrier loaded with advanced jet fighters capable of precision attacks, as well as electronic warfare aircraft designed to jam enemy radar and air defences. US Navy guided missile destroyers are operating nearby, armed with Tomahawk cruise missiles and defensive interceptors. The US Air Force has also reinforced key regional bases. Dozens of aircraft have been deployed to the air base in Jordan, as well as Israel and also Saudi Arabia. These include F-35s, F-15s, F-22s and F-16 fighter jets, along with E-3 Sentry airborne warning systems and the E-11A battlefield communications aircraft. Together, they form a powerful network of surveillance, strike capability, and command control. Iran has responded swiftly and forcefully, Tehran launching a barrage of missiles and drones aimed at Israel and at US military installations across the region. Unlike previous confrontations, the retaliation spread far beyond Israeli territory. Iranian projectiles targeted bases in Qatar, Kuwait, the UAE and Bahrain. The US military intercepted multiple incoming missiles, preventing what could have been far greater damage. But an Iranian strike did hit a US base in Bahrain, damaging facilities and signalling that Tehran is prepared to widen the battlefield. Missiles and drones also rained down on Gulf states that host American forces, piercing what many had seen as a protective shield around the region's most prosperous and business-friendly hubs. Now, for decades, countries such as Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and the UAE marketed themselves as stable oases in a volatile region, attracting multinational corporations, wealthy expats, and billions in foreign investment. But that image has today been shaken. Security analysts warn that a conflict of this scale could unsettle international businesses operating in the Gulf. Expatriate staff may reconsider their presence and investors may be questioning long-term stability on which their decisions are based. The psychological impact of missiles striking near major financial districts and energy infrastructure could reverberate far beyond the battlefield. The economic implications are already becoming visible. Oil prices have been rising amid fears that conflict could disrupt supplies, particularly if fighting affects shipping routes. Tankers have begun diverting away from the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most critical choke points for energy transport, and any sustained disruptions there. Republican lawmakers in Washington praising the operation, arguing that decisive action was necessary to confront Iran's nuclear ambitions and regional aggression. But many Democrats have described the strikes as illegal and have questioned the legal authority under which they were carried out. In Europe, leaders have condemned Iran's retaliatory strikes on Gulf countries and have urged Tehran to return to negotiations. At the same time, they've expressed deep concern about the rise of a broader regional war. President Trump has been engaged in intense diplomatic outreach. He has spoken with the leaders of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE, as well as with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. He has also had discussions with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The conversations reflect a recognition the conflict could quickly expand beyond its current scope. For now, both the United States and Israel have signaled that this is not a one-night operation. Officials say several days of intensive attacks are planned. Iran, for its part, has demonstrated both the capability and the willingness to strike back across a wide geographical area. The situation remains fluid and lines hardening, and markets are now reacting. Civilians are fleeing, and the world is watching closely to see whether this escalates further or whether diplomacy can somehow regain a foothold before the conflict widens even more. This is the latest now from US President Donald Trump.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious